continue to seek ways of progressing in life. So, Father, we just ask that you will continue to be with us and the power of your Holy Spirit, that all things may work for the best for those who love you. Bless and keep, guide and protect us. We ask all this in no other name, but in Jesus' mighty name. Amen.
Thank you very much, Father Leslie Tankai. The Honorable Stuart Young, Minister of Energy and Energy Industries and Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister. Senator the Honorable Hazel Backus, Minister of Digital Transformation. Members of the Diplomatic Corps, Permanent Secretaries, heads of UN organizations and regional bodies, senior officials of government, private sector, and civil society, our keynote speakers and panelists for today's symposium, specially invited guests, executives and staff of the Ministry of Digital Transformation, distinguished members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and welcome to the Hilton Trinidad Conference Center, and welcome to the Ministry of Digital Transformation's National Digital Transformation Symposium 2025. You're all welcome. Permit me to say that these devices have now become an extension of our appendages. We lose our stability and balance if we can't find it. One may question whether there's a call, an image, a word, a sight that may come up by accident on your device that may cause you a little bit of discomfort. Truthfully, we have been transforming every day. And technology has met us where we are, and together we are on a journey of renewed transformation. What we do here today has been the work and efforts of many over several years to bring us to this point, digitally transforming. So as we embrace this symposium, many of the messages and points that will be shared and made are truly of the people, truly for the people, and can make a difference in the future of all. Let's just embrace that for a minute, and permit me at this time to invite to deliver welcome remarks as the stage is set for our symposium, the gentleman that took on the mantle a few years ago after holding a position in the Ministry of Public Administration. And obviously, the Prime Minister would have said, digital transformation, Hazel Backus, the two go together. So we are fortunate and blessed this morning to have as our Minister, Senator the Honorable Hazel Backus, and we're even more fortunate this morning that he delivers the welcome to each and every one of us so that we can have a successful engagement. Please welcome the Minister of Digital Transformation, Senator the Honorable Hazel Backus.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Master of Ceremonies, please allow me to stand on your protocol as established. I would not want to go through that list again, but please allow me to specifically thank my cabinet colleague, the Minister of Energy, and our incoming Prime Minister, Mr. Stuart Young. And I especially do so knowing the agenda that he has. The energy conference is still ongoing. I know he has a number of engagements, as do all of you. And I specifically wanted to thank him very much for taking the time early in the morning to be here with us. Thank you so much. So many captains of industry, so many old friends that I see from my time in other places. It will take too long to single everybody out. But please, I just want to ensure that you understand the extent of gratitude that I have, that you've taken the time to come here and join us and be part of what I think is a really, really, really important and momentous occasion. So why are we here? We're really here to address the official launch of the National Digital Transformation Strategy. It's the successor to the ICT Blueprint that was 2018 to 2022, a document that served us well, and we continue to uphold and use a number of the principles inside of it. And the blueprint was quite relevant for its times, but you would remember in 2021 we had significant upheavals, COVID, etc., and it really thrust us into a different place. And as a result of that, the government decided that we had to find ways to accelerate us into where we need to be and push us faster to becoming a digital nation. And we set out to seamlessly navigate the challenges that, that were relevant and applicable then, and the changes that we need to make in the way we approach things for the now. And of course, being mindful of the fast-paced and uncertain environment in which all of this is happening. We had to do this in a new way, and the new way had to be propelled by speed, agility, innovation, and of course creativity, things that people in Trinidad and Tobago have in spades. We knew that there was no one best way to achieve our goals. Instead, what was required was the ability to adapt and change as we would continuously encounter obstacles, which we know we'll have. So our response had to be inspired by the dreams of our people and built on the collective, hopes and aspirations that they have. We had to remain focused to deliver on the plans, even as we sought to adjust all of this in this future of unpredictability. But the thing that made all of this work, the grounding that it had, is that a lot of the things that you're going to see, hear, learn about, and have explained to you came from you. It's all part of your plan that we have put into our plan. The good news is, all the expertise we need to do this, all the experience that we need to do it, is sitting right around here in this room. What do we have? We have here with us the digital industry, people from the sector and leaders of renowned businesses and areas of talent. We have local and regional international organizations represented. We have thought leaders, captains of industry, entrepreneurs. We have subject matter experts and digital subject matter experts, seasoned veterans in where we are, brilliant young professionals. You'll look around, you see a number of young people in the room as well. And all of them represent significant digital constituencies drawn from civil society. They come from the private sector, and of course, a significant amount of them from the government of Trinidad and Tobago. And so to everyone in person and virtually, I would like to extend my sincere thanks again and appreciation for you for accepting the invitation and for giving us a little bit of your precious time. I want to talk a little bit about the alignment of the theme of the symposium, BOLD, Building Our Lives Digitally. And it's really bold connections in this case, turning ideas to action. And in a lot of ways, it represents our journey as a ministry. You know, the Ministry of Digital Transformation was established on July 12, 2021, with a mandate from the Prime Minister. And guess what? When we started, we only had 2 members of staff, one of which is still with me, sitting here with us now. Jackie is here with me from the beginning, since 2012. But the goodwill combined with the encouragement and support from key, a number of key stakeholders, my colleagues in government, the minister sitting here is of similar value. The private sector, many of you would have worked with us from the beginning. Civil society, which is well represented as well, regional and international partners, all of us working together to get to the point where we could transform our thoughts into tangible outcomes and bridge the gap between conceiving and dreaming to getting things done. History is filled with brilliant ideas that Never got anywhere. And it's not because they weren't good ideas. It's just because they just stayed ideas. We couldn't find ways to bring them to fruition. That will not happen with the things that we have today. Consider the digital technology is increasing and is fairly ubiquitous. You can't get away from technology. Master of Ceremonies put up his phone. I don't know anybody here that doesn't have one, or at least one. And it affects all of us in all aspects of our lives. Indeed, the spread of ICT is as pervasive as it is profound, and in this case, it is also indispensable. So much so, in fact, that several proponents of the global political economy, who would have previously considered the international community of comprising only two distinct, albeit overlapping worlds, being political and economic, they now speak of a third one, the digital world. In the spirit of Moore's law, which most people would know about, we recognize that the exponential growth of computing power enables businesses, governments, and individuals to adopt more advanced digital tools at an unprecedented rate, and that pace seems to be only increasing. But that law also teaches us that change is constant and it is rapid. And it also should not be lost on anyone here that organizations that do not adapt to the accelerating pace of digital transformation risk falling behind, or worse. It is therefore no surprise that the changes that are driven by digital transformation are often disruptive, and the impact on our way of life is not so much evolutionary, but more revolutionary. Digital transformation is the direct response to this exponential growth, allowing us to innovate, create, and do things in a more efficient way to improve the quality of life. And that last part is very important. We're not doing it for doing its sake. We're doing it to improve the quality of life. So with all this in mind, the Ministry of Digital Transformation set out with some intent to build strategic partnerships. We cannot do this alone. We have not tried to do it alone, hence the reason why the composition of this room is the way it is. So in addition to developing close and productive relationships with key ministries, departments, agencies within the government ecosystem, we've also had, and there's some colleagues I would like to mention specifically, those at the Telecommunications Authority of Trinidad and Tobago, and of course those at iGov for, again, being with us on this journey. And we've developed such a successful symbiosis with them, though they have levels of independence, that we are working together for the benefit of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. We have our telecoms operators, they're here, and they partnered with us to deliver on the commitment of ensuring that we have ubiquitous, affordable broadband as a public good. Key and important, we can't do this alone. The wider private sector, including the chambers of commerce, I remember, Jackie could tell you this, back when we had COVID-19, AmCham assisted us to no end to ensure that we had our vaccination database inside. It was a lot that they were doing for us. We have the private sector along with the areas of academia, participating other government agencies. It's just a lot of partnerships. The Ministry of Digital Transformation is a ministry of partnerships. And, we have civil society. We have our local village councils, our community groups in our areas, where we've located our ICT access centers. We're opening a number of them. We're doing 5 more in Tobago, 2 more this week, another one somewhere else. We have a lot of them going on. The Adult Literacy Tutors Association, ALTA, which is also here and represented with us, having their things online, working with us in our spaces. All of this speaks to what we're doing in terms of the digital transformation. Our regional and international partners, the Caribbean Telecommunication Union, the ITU, the International Telecommunications Union, the Inter-American Development Bank, the Development Bank of Latin America and the Caribbean, the European Union, etc., all represented here and all key components in the work that we do. Not to mention our bilateral partners, such as India. We have the entire open source stack available to us. We have knowledge from Estonia. We're working on too many, Lithuania, etc., etc. And recently we have a few more coming up. So just stay tuned, there are more to be there. So the National Digital Transformation Strategy was therefore developed using a partnership-driven framework. And so rather than the original way in which you do this, you bring in a consultant, they put something together for you and you use it, this NTDS was built instead from the ground up by the national community itself. The same civil society, the same private sector, the same government working closely and collaboratively together as equal partners. This is us doing something for us, by ourselves, for ourselves. That is a tremendous achievement and deserves a round of applause for all of you yourselves. Master of Ceremonies, you'll forgive me for the long welcome, but yeah. We did this by putting this thing into 4 streams, primarily. And it was led by independent but multi-sectoral technical working groups, so we segmented how we did it in certain ways. And it comprised, again, representatives from the civil society, the private sector, and the government. And these working groups corresponded to our 3 pillars of digital transformation. Anybody would have heard me speak, would have heard me talk about these 3 pillars all the time: the digital society, the digital economy, and the digital government. And of course, we have a 4th pillar now that is there, which really explores regional and the international dimensioning of the digital transformation environment. The work that the TWGs did was then refined, validated by an extensive series of national consultations, and I can tell you they were extensive. I looked at a lot of them myself. I participated in some of them myself. So it cannot be said that there was no consultation in what is happening here. Let me repeat that. It cannot be said that there was no consultation. The consultation was extensive and segmented in some cases and general in others. So the strategy is not just a policy document. It's a vision and a roadmap and a commitment to shaping a more inclusive, innovative, and digitally empowered future for all of us. As an important prerequisite to accomplishing this and to ensure that all of our dimensions on building our digital society, growing the digital economy, and enabling digital government incorporate the guiding, they have to incorporate guiding principles of, and I'll just name 3 of them: inclusion by design, security by design, resilience by design. If we just adhere to those principles, I think the majority of the things that come out of this will work. As part of its role as facilitator for the National DT agenda, the ministry itself commissioned the development of a citizens engagement app. You know, everybody has an app these days, which enables members of the national community to follow, comment on, and most importantly, contribute to the implementation of the strategy. This is a significant commitment. And just so as a teaser, the introduction of this engagement platform, which will be launched later this afternoon as the proceedings continue, is something that I think everyone should look forward to. So it's been built already, it's been tested already, it's been set already, and we're going to start to use it so that all stakeholders have the opportunity to participate in the implementation and the rollout of a plan that was primarily of your own creation. In conclusion, I once again want to thank everyone for your participation in this symposium and for the support that we got while we were doing this, this roadmap for this digital transformation strategy. Both today and in the days ahead, I'm looking forward to even further collaboration and assistance. The strategy was developed by the national community, and it belongs to all of us. We at the Ministry of Digital Transformation feel truly honored to be able to facilitate a national undertaking, and this is a national undertaking that promises to improve and enrich the life of all of our citizens. Let us embrace this journey together. Let us build a digital nation that is strong, resilient, and constantly innovating as we face the future together. I thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you very much to the Minister of Digital Transformation, Senator the Honorable Hassel Backus. Stage set, historical context provided. And as we embrace all that will take place today, including the fact that many of the segments do involve interactive participation. So although you may be seated, you will have work to do. Such a bold initiative really has to emanate from a vision. If I ask each of you in this room, what do you have or perceive as a vision for your country? We may go down the road: better roads, improved healthcare, education for all, safe, secure society, and the usual list. Those who are into disruption will say, not good enough. You literally have to mash things up, open it up a bit, free yourself, all right? Look at it from a different angle, turn it wrong. My grandmother always told me, you could play as much as you want in the sandbox, but you see, when the time comes for you to go to sleep, make sure all your toys back inside the box for me, please. We will have no mess in this house. So it's great that we can turn the status quo into ideas, initiatives, and perceptions of what we can be. But that vision needs a channel through which it passes. It's not vision ad nauseum, full liberty of vision, because there's the culture of who we are, Trinidad and Tobago. And believe me, for those of you who are visitors, the "and" in our name sometimes has as much significance as the name of the first country and the second country as islands together. So Trinidad and Tobago, literally one can't do without the other. Or else where will you go after this symposium to relax your weary bones? Strawberry, etc. We are fortunate in Trinidad and Tobago that at this time the country sees a substantive head of government, but we've also been given a vision as to the designate successor head of government. There may be some political machinations that have to take place as well. They're all constitutionally due sometime later on in the year. This will not be the forum where any date comes out of a back pocket. It's not necessary today. But what will happen here today is that at least you are afforded a glimpse, preview, your own special edition, closed room, including those who are joining us digitally and virtually, of where does the mindset of the minister in the office of the Prime Minister, the Minister of Energy and Energy Industries, and of course the minister who is preparing for more sleepless nights than he has had for the last 10 years, virtually. Where does he speak? Where does he sit? Where does that mindset go? And if you were suddenly to wake up tomorrow morning and we were in a position to have the name associated as Prime Minister of the country, where would your confidence lie? Because it's that one voice that will encourage us to say, yeah, we're going. So he's the real coach for the country right now. It's been a busy week for him with the energy conference underway at another place. But this morning we are thoroughly blessed and honored, privileged in fact, to have with us the Honorable Stuart Young, Member of Parliament SC, Minister of Energy and Energy Industries and Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister, to deliver the ministerial address on charting our digital vision. Please welcome the Honorable Stuart Young.
Good morning. And as I was coming up here, Wendell says I'll set you up. Allow me to recognize the Minister of Digital Transformation, the person charged with the responsibility to not only chart the course that we are embarking upon, but to make sure it's implemented. Senator, the Honorable Hasselbachus, who has a very special day today. So join me in thanking him, but also in the celebration of his birthday today. To my colleague Hasselbachus. To my cabinet colleague, the Minister of Communications out of the Office of the Prime Minister, the Honorable Simon de Nobrega, to the very many permanent secretaries, other leaders in the public service, to private sector, to all of you ladies and gentlemen, and to the members of the media, good morning. I could not miss the opportunity to do exactly what Wendell lined me up to do this morning. Because you see, we in Trinidad and Tobago are on the brink of another chapter, that we're getting ready to turn the page of Trinidad and Tobago. So I'm particularly pleased this morning, as I looked around the room, to see a number of leaders of the public service, meaning the permanent secretaries, and identifying the various ministries I see present here this morning, because there is a very special part of my messaging to the public service this morning. But I'd like some of us, the young people in the room, will not know this part of life's history. But as I look around, some of you who are my contemporaries, some a bit older, some a bit younger, would remember the time when it was literally writing letters from one country to another, and that was a form of communication. Along came this concept of a fax machine, and that you could put something into a fax machine and it would transmit to anywhere else in the world that had a fax machine. And I remember my particular journey when I went off to study at university. It started off, and I'm giving my age, which I think most people in the room may have learned over the weekend, that I started off writing letters back to Trinidad, but very shortly became the advent of the internet available to the population, but only certain segments of the population, because there was only a certain handful of people that had internet at their home, and then this concept of email. I remember being in England and literally having to sign up for a maximum of 20 minutes at a computer terminal to utilize that time. There wasn't any surfing of the internet. It was literally quickly typing an email to loved ones and to others in far-off places. But today, that is a distant history that some in the room may not even know about because they take it for granted. And as I look around and I see people holding up their smartphones, even with the phones, think back when cell phones first came, first was a brick, and then these flip phones and these phones that we never thought would one day become a concept of a smartphone. I have a particular memory of sitting on a plane not too long ago. My recollection is it was around the 2012, maybe a little after period, and seeing the person in front of me on the plane speaking on a phone that I now know to be an Apple phone, and they were talking to someone literally on a video conference on the phone. And I leaned over rather rudely and said, "Excuse me," when they had finished, "What were you just doing?" And many persons will not even fathom that that was not possible, something that we take for granted now. I take you through this very short capsule of time because that was literally a decade and a half of how quickly technology moved. Here we are in 2025, at the start of 2025. And I want to assure you that this government is committed to ensuring that we move a lot quicker into that age to ensure that our citizens and the rest of the world have that connectivity with us that I'm about to describe. The minister identified July 2021, which is when the Ministry of Digital Transformation was created by Prime Minister Rowley. But it was in 2020, in August, that he had the vision to say digital transformation needs to be part of his next government, 2020 to 2025 period. But by July 2021, and we were still in COVID, for those of you who may not remember, a specific decision was taken to break it off and to create a standalone ministry. And that was not by VAPs, that was not by waking up one morning. I remember it. It was a very concerted conversation that we were having and a decision taken. This is so important. We need dedicated resources. Ministry of Digital Transformation, you are charged with the responsibility. You have had enough time now to go through your incubation period. It has been a very quick period because setting up a brand new ministry took a while, a bit longer than I would have liked. I was there pushing in the background to make sure you got staff and the resources. But from my perspective, you've had your period in the crib. I am not waiting for you to crawl. Get ready to run, because this is where I intend the next chapter of Trinidad and Tobago to go to, under the leadership that I hope to bring. We have to embrace digitization. It has to become part of everyday process, especially in the public service. It cannot be that we go forward for the next 5 years and cannot do more online. It cannot be that when I travel to certain countries, I have the staff at our consulates and our embassies telling me about problems that they have with persons in that country getting visas to enter Trinidad and Tobago and being unable to pay online for those visas. That is no longer acceptable. So we will move our ministries, and I've seen it happen. I see the PS from the Ministry of Works and Transport here, and I've seen it happen at our licensing office. There is always resistance to change, but there are only two constants in life: death and change. It is time that we embrace it. It is time that we utilize the tools that are available to make life simpler, to make life more efficient, because the next government is going to launch us into that level of efficiency. And we saw it work. So I'm not prepared to accept too much resistance by, oh, it can't be done, this legislation isn't in place. Well, we changed the legislation. Because in COVID, at the time I was the Minister of National Security charged with the very difficult responsibility of protecting our borders, very quickly rose to public enemy number one, because everyone thought I was not permitting them to come in to the country, but that wasn't it. It was the 1.3 million people here, plus whoever was within our shores, we were protecting you, because the only thing we knew about COVID at that time, which was completely new globally, was that it seemed to transmit via movement. One of the first things we did in record time was implement an app called the Travel app, Travel Pass. And it was me working with Minister Bacchus to find that solution, pushing to turn it around, that people could literally be on a smartphone, a computer, an iPad, anything around the world, fill in their application. We received it here. We built the backbone out. Were there teething problems? Absolutely. I remember receiving calls, reaching out to Minister Bacchus, hey, this person is Canada, this person in England, they're saying they can't get it. Turned out that, okay, it wasn't working properly off of your Apple phone. It could work off of a Android and these, but you quickly ironed it out. But we were able to do it. So therefore, why is it that we can do that, but we can't have the same electronic forms that you fill out before you jump on a plane, wherever you're embarking on, as opposed to sitting on the plane before entering Trinidad and Tobago to literally fill out a form? And all of that feeds into security as well, because when it's digitized, we can use the AI tools available to us to decipher in the thousands coming in who may be a red flagged passenger. So these are just some of the concepts that are in use now. So we in the public service and we, the government, will be utilizing these tools. It must be that every single service to our public and our population can be made more efficient. It can be made simpler by the utilization of the technology available. So digital transformation, that is part of the vision that I have to carry us forward. And there's a lot more. And it is going to come down to the technology. And the young people, again, I make a clarion call for our youth to get excited, get ready, stand by, because it's your turn now. It is your turn now to come forward with your ideas, your innovation, your energy, your initiative to take control of our country and help us to drive it where it has to be. Ministry of Energy. I remember something as simple as, well, if we have all of this data, decades of data there, why are we keeping it secret in a vault somewhere or keeping it secret in a room somewhere? How do you expect to attract interest? And I heard them with great aplomb 2 days ago, a very young person in the ministry who's taken responsibility, say that all of that data is now available in our bid rounds and to the world at large. Something as simple as driving that decision. What is the use of that as secret information? Put it out there for the world. Somebody may look at it. They may see some geological structure there that no one else has seen, and they may come in, drill, and find the next large reservoir. It is these simple things that we take for granted. So Trinidad and Tobago, stand by. Stand by for the exciting times that lie ahead. This particular ministry, you've had enough time in your incubation period. So get ready, because it is all about implementation. As the minister said, we have to move from ideas to action. For me, it is about implementation. The time for talk is gone. So let us get ready to carry Trinidad and Tobago to the fullest potential that it has. I hope that we will be able to deliver a much more efficient public service. I look around, I see amongst the permanent secretaries, many of them who are much younger with that enthusiasm and that openness. But the young people will push us to do it, because those of you who have young children will see already how these devices have become an integral part of their life. I am constantly complaining and telling them, disconnect, disconnect. But it's not going to happen. So how do we use what is available, and how are we going to be at the cutting edge of technology to ensure our citizens, the population, and the efficiency of Trinidad and Tobago is delivered? And that is as much as I can give you now. But stand by, it is going to play a very important and critical role in how we drive Trinidad and Tobago to where I personally believe and committed, and I am personally committed to take us to receive and to be part of our fullest potential. There's only one other area for me to touch on, just to let you know we're very aware of it and we've been focused on it in the past few months, and that, of course, is the security aspect and the cyber security aspect, because we're not where we need to be there, and it is something that is constantly changing all over the world. So it is also going to be a very important component. And I remember a few years ago going to an intelligence agency in another part of the world where they wanted to show me what they were doing with cyber security. An unmarked building somewhere in the middle of one of the huge metropolitan cities of the world. And when I came out of the lift and I saw the young people there, it burnt an impression into my mind that made me realize it is you young people who are going to drive this thing. All of the officers, hoodies, sneakers, pants kind of hanging down, pizza, Coca-Cola, chocolate bars on the desk, etc. And those were the persons who were protecting one of the most sophisticated countries in the world and doing it efficiently. So that is a small part of the vision of where we intend to be. I'm not talking about the dress code, because I still believe in some level of dress code. So Trinidad and Tobago is going to be exciting, I can promise you that. It's going to be fast-paced, I can promise you that. There is going to be a drive personally by me for implementation and results, because that is the person that I am. I focus on results and what we have been able to deliver. And you've gotten a snapshot of that in the areas that I have had responsibility for over the last 9 years. I personally think it's an exciting time, and it is going to be a time as well where I hope to bring a unification of our citizens, that it is that time for us to do now. Thank you very much for your attention this morning. I look forward to great things coming out of this very critical discussion you all are going to have during the course of today, especially with civil society and industry leaders. You've seen from this particular ministry the government's not only ability, but its willingness to enter into discourse with the population, to listen, to take on board, to distill, and then to take the decisions we need to. Thank you all very much. I wish you a very successful day and conference, and I look forward to the great delivery points to come from the Ministry of Digital Transformation. Thank you.
Our thanks to the is in the room. Our thanks to the Honorable Stuart Young, Minister of Energy and Energy Industries and Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister, for delivering the ministerial address. Minister, I can't resist, so here goes. Ladies and gentlemen, I will claim no copyright, nor do I need the Tilden Hall rhythm in order to use this as a campaign song, but clearly, young time now. In more ways than one, if the Office of Communications happens to use it for their activities, claim nothing on it, but it's clear, the young persons within the Ministry of Digital Transformation have brought the quote-unquote energy. And should we engage any young person in creating the enabling environment, then that's where the fast track will come from. The minute that you can't figure something out technologically, ask a child. They'll take the phone, they'll fix it, they'll give it back to you and just tell you, don't press that knob. And so the opportunity for the generation that is ahead of us, not that at any point in time are they resistant to learning from the elders, creates that enabling environment. So congratulations once again to the Ministry of Digital Transformation, and thank you, Minister Stuart Young, for sharing how and where we chart our digital vision. Ladies and gentlemen, the private sector is also integrated into all that's happening where digital transformation is concerned in Trinidad and Tobago. And this morning, we are fortunate to have Anna Leon, Partner, Technology Strategy and Digital Transformation from KPMG Canada. Anna is a partner in KPMG's Management Consulting, Tech Advisory and Digital Strategy practice in Canada. With over 20 years of experience, she has advised government leaders worldwide, specializing in digital government solutions and tech transformation for public sector organizations. Anna joined KPMG in Canada in 2021. As a key member of the organization's Global Council for Government Digital Customer Experience, she collaborates with G8 countries to develop global qualifications, assets, and credentials, driving innovative solutions that empower clients worldwide. In addition, Anna serves as the chair of Tech Nation, a premier Canadian organization that unites the technology sector, government, and communities to foster economic growth and collaborative solutions tailored for citizens' needs. Outside of her professional commitments, Anna is passionate about giving back to the community, particularly through her involvement as a board member with the Red Door Family Shelter. She believes in supporting families in crisis, and she dedicates her time to initiatives that help provide safe housing, essential resources, and pathways to stability for those in need. This morning, she's in Port of Spain, and she will deliver the keynote address on a systemic approach to digital transformation. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Anna Leon.
my mother wrote that bio introduction. Thank you for that. Good morning, everyone. I am so grateful to be here. I am truly appreciative of the government of Trinidad and Tobago, to the Minister of Digital Transformation, and to my fellow colleagues in the KPMG CARICOM office. I have a lot of Trinidadian Canadian friends back home, and they thought I was crazy to come during a national state of emergency. And I told them, it's a lot more dangerous to stay during a polar vortex when you're dealing with minus 30 degrees Celsius. So I thought, you know what, I'll come here for some beautiful Trinidadian culture and weather. And so I'm truly grateful for the hospitality and for having me here today. As the intro stated, a lot of the work that I do is working with government leaders, such as many of you here in this room, to talk about some of the biggest challenges that you face. And I think that Minister Young as well as Minister Bacchus have basically shared everything that I wanted to talk about today. So that concludes my speech. Just joking. But it is very, very incredible how many things we have in common as citizens around the world. When COVID happened, that was one of the common denominators that every single human being around this world faced. We are seeing the advent of innovation. We're seeing the technology and AI impact everyone's process and the day-to-day lives. And so when I work with our government leaders in G8 countries around the world as a part of the Global Council at KPMG, that is one of the things that we do. We look at the commonalities and the solutions that meet the needs of every single citizen around the world. And you will not believe how many common interests and common issues that we have. Do you know that everyone in the world wants to go from point A to point B in a safe manner? That's a common issue. And so, for example, the transportation file that every government has is one of those things that we look at. How do we innovate? How do we replicate the solutions that some of these governments are achieving, and how do we bring that to bear with the discussions that we have around the world? So I wanted to share a few trends that I thought would be relevant to today's conversation. KPMG Canada works with our global offices around the world to conduct a survey. We interview over 2,400 or so CIOs and CEOs to talk about what their trajectory is in digital transformation. What is their approach? And it was very interesting to see that there were a lot of commonalities and a lot of conversations around the importance of taking a very systemic approach to transformation. The first thing that we talk about and what we've seen is that technology and innovation is happening at a much more accelerated manner than ever before. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you could invest in innovation or technology that could be the same status quo for 15, 20 years, but now it is no longer the case. And so we're seeing a lot more change happening in a much more rapid manner. The second thing that we also notice is that the role of the IT manager is changing. A lot of the CIOs have been seen, the office of the CIO is seen as teams that are, maintaining systems, but now they're looked upon as digital transformation leaders to really help lead and bring that thought leadership for their teams to move into that digital era. So they are definitely looked upon to ensure that there's capabilities and teams and modernization strategies that have to be rolled out. And the third thing around public sector is that when we have a lot of innovation and transformation being rolled out, it is really impacting government's ability to keep pace with that change. I was talking to a CIO the other day, and he was sharing how when cloud came into the horizon, government of Canada, for example, had a very hard time adopting cloud because that had an impact in their procurement strategy. They needed to establish new policies. They needed to establish new IT security framework. And it had a ripple effect around how change was adopted in that particular government. And when we take a look at all of these different innovations that are happening, we do see that not just government, organizations in general are having a very hard time keeping pace because it is really challenging the way that our organizations are structured, the way that we work together. And so there's a lot of conversations happening around the world around how do we engage together? How do we engage the community? How do we adopt the best practices from other regions as well? So one of the other challenges that I wanted to share with you today is around, according to Gartner, Gartner talks about how 75% of organizations are going to be moving from a traditional IT model to a digital business model by this year. In the next 12 months, we're going to begin to see over 75% of governments really move into that digital business model, where governments are partnering together with the industry to really talk about how to elevate technology. The other thing that I also noticed is that when we establish these comprehensive policies, there is a real drive to communicate those changes and to build that adoption, not just with your people, with communities, but even all of the stakeholders. And so working together with policy makers, with academia, with technologists, it is really important for us to drive that partnership together. The other element that we talk about in our KPMG headline is around why, the reasons why. Why should we change? Why should we adopt a new way of working? The first reason is because complex problems require collective solutions. A lot of governments, a lot of governments face multifaceted challenges, such as public health crisis. We see systemic challenges with social inequality. We're impacted by climate change, and a lot of cybersecurity threats that Minister Young talked about as well. These issues do not happen in isolation. They cut across various sectors, they cut across various industries. And so collaborative approaches allow government to tap into the wealth of experience, to tap into the wealth of resources and expertise, and to foster these innovative solutions that are desperately needed, that cannot happen in silos. The second reason is government needs to tap into efficiency and resource utilization. Many of our governments that I talk to have multiple different departments. Government of Ontario has about 24 different ministries. Government of Canada has multiple different departments as well. And there are many common challenges, many common needs that these departments have. And the challenge that we're beginning to see is that as we are adopting software as a service, for example, as we are adopting innovation, we're seeing a lot of pockets of siloed decision-making happening around the world where the Ministry of Health, for example, this particular government, I won't mention names, but the Ministry of Health needed a case management system. And so they went out to market to procure a CRM tool. The Ministry of Justice needed a case management system to handle all of their cases, and so they went out to market virtually within the same month for a CRM platform. The Ministry of Health selected Salesforce, and the Ministry of Justice selected Microsoft Dynamics. And you have these two separate investments, two separate teams being spun up, two implementations. And you can almost see that this could be a repeat of the same challenges that will happen if we don't collaborate, if we don't understand the holistic strategy, the go-forward model. And the other challenge too is, why should any government or any organization spin up 14 teams? buy 14 different tools to solve 14 problems when you can collaborate, bring together your best, solve the problem once, and then apply it 14 times. And so that is one of the efforts that we're beginning to see, but that requires a lot of conversation, that requires effort, that requires intent, that requires conversations exactly like today to bring the community together, to bring all the stakeholders together to talk about the vision. The third reason for needing to change the way that we work is around adapting to the technology changes that we're seeing around the world. I sit on the board, as mentioned in the intro, I sit on the board and I'm the chair of Tech Nation, which has been around for 30 years. And this organization brings together all the members of industry. You have Microsoft, you have Google, you have almost virtually every representative of industry at this table. And we bring together government leaders and we facilitate conversations on matters that are important to our citizens. And we co-create, we solution, we have these different sessions to discuss some of these challenges. And our clients, our government clients love it because, and I'm sure many of you know the vendors that call you, hey, Minister Backus, can I get a coffee with you? I'd like to know your vision, right? Minister Young, would you like to go for lunch? So it's impossible to be in 30 different places at the same time. But wouldn't it be great if you had a forum like this where the industry is here together and you're able to share your vision and the outlook for the next 3 to 5 years? So that's exactly what we do. And I do think that there's a real need for that kind of conversation to take place around the world. The fourth and final reason for change is to really be responsive to your citizens' needs. I know many of you have talked about the need for better healthcare, better education, but there are micro nuances to all of those as well. So you as individuals here in this room have a very certain way of expecting government services. You have a very certain expectation of how to access government services. But we have a new generation coming up, and their expectation might be completely different than yours. And I'll give you an example. I have a 12-year-old daughter who, her father and I asked Ava what she wanted for her birthday. And she said that she wanted this outfit in Roblox. How many of you have kids that play Roblox? Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. It's a video game, virtual avatar. And so my husband and I looked at each other and we're like, whew, we dodged a bullet because we thought she's gonna ask for an iPhone or an iPad or a computer. It's like, oh, she just wants a digital little, QR code and two Trinidadian dollars and we're good to go. And when she showed us the avatar that she wanted to buy, we did not realize that these things go for $1,000 US, okay? And we're like, there is no way, Ava, we're gonna buy this for you. No way. Like, I grew up in an immigrant family. We grew up with nothing. We were grateful for shoes, right? And my husband my husband's family's from South America, and so he grew up as an immigrant child as well. So we were very thankful to have the clothes on our back. So there's no way I'm gonna throw my money at this digital, nonsense. So I said, Ava, why don't I take you to the store? I'll take you to a really nice mall. We'll buy, we'll go on a little shopping spree. I'll buy you an outfit for school. And no matter how much convincing we tried to do, she refused. She would not have it. She would not entertain. And it dawned on me that her value system was very different than mine. She did not care about her physical persona. She cared more about her digital persona. She cared more about who her identity was in this digital community with her friends that she interacts with, in the community that she's created in the world of Roblox, and she wanted to have the outfit that she knew was super, super cool. When we as government leaders are thinking about the future, we need to think about what are those nuances or micro needs that are going to come out of this generation that is going to have very, very different expectations. They want government to be personal. They want government to know and be intuitive. If I update you on my new driver's license, I shouldn't have to tell every single agency that I got a new driver's license. If I have updated you that I got married, that should be updated once. And so the whole concept of telling me once and ensuring that vital events with government and citizens is all interconnected may seem like a dream, but there are a lot of governments that are working their way to achieving that. But that takes coordination, that takes consolidation of data, that takes a data strategy, that takes policy. That also, with innovation comes bad actors, and so cybersecurity becomes a very real issue. So in all of this, when we look at governments like Trinidad and Tobago and Canada and the UK and Australia, the Commonwealth, we have the parliamentary system, we're very, very used to that decentralized, fragmented, federated model. And when you think about the organizational structures that many of us are used to working within, think about how and when those organizational structures were established. They were probably established 20 to 30 years ago. It worked then, but we need to ask ourselves, does our way of working now make sense? And I love the fact that the Trinidad and Tobago government have established a Ministry of Digital Transformation. I think you are one of the very early adopters of making this move, and I want to congratulate you and your team for being such forward-thinking government. And I shared this with many colleagues. I think that Trinidad and Tobago can be the next government of Estonia. You have what it takes. You have the commitment, and there's no reason why this community here cannot adopt that advancement. And so I really, I'm grateful for this opportunity here. So what does it take? The concept of agile is not new. Many of you know the word agile, small a, agile. Some of you who are in software development understand agile software development methodology. So I want to just spend a few seconds just providing the groundwork because it's going to help feed into the point that I want to drive. Agile software came about because back then, before agile software development, a lot of the processes were very waterfall. You had a team developing the front end, and everyone else had to wait for that to be done. And then it got handed over to the folks that are doing the back end. And then once everything was done, months have passed, and you share the final product to your client, and the client says, it's not really meeting my needs. And so you have to scrap all that effort and then start from scratch again. So the agile software development was designed to co-create with a group of developers that can build in iterative fashion. You're building small features, making sure, testing it, asking the user to check in on the software features that you're developing to make sure that there's a feedback loop. And as you progress, you start to build and build and build. And so it's iterative, it's collaborative, you work together as teams, you're working together as an integrated unit. The concept of agile is not new in IT. So a lot of IT projects are very much hybrid or waterfall or agile. But the point that I want to drive today is the concept of agile has to be applied to every facet of government. It's not good enough anymore to have a technology team committed to agile. You need every single part of your government to work in conjunction, to work collaboratively. Think about cloud, the client conversation that I had about adopting cloud. When you think about generative AI is impacting governments in a big way because it has implications on policy. Do you have the right policy to adopt AI in your environment for your citizens? Do you have the right cybersecurity strategy? Do you have the right governance structure? Oh, by the way, can you procure it? Do you know how to procure AI? Do you have the right contract language in place to manage your vendors around AI? So there's so many nuances that come with innovation. And so the concept of Agile is really about working collectively across the organization, not just government, any organization, to work together to develop and foster a way to adopt change. And this is so critically important. You know, the other thing that Agile development is also great for is asking questions, right? Asking the status quo. Does this feature make sense? If I put the blue box in that left corner, is that the right place to put it, and is that the right color, right? So you're asking questions. And I think the challenge that a lot of us have in the day-to-day is that we don't ask ourselves enough questions. I remember early in my career, I was working with a government client, and he was sharing this story about how, you know, every day at 5 p.m., the whole office would reboot their systems. And there was an intern that came in and said, well, why do you reboot your systems every day at 5 o'clock? Is it like a part of a bigger IT strategy? And the IT manager said, no, it's, he chuckled and he said, well, you know, we realized that at around 5 o'clock, all of our systems froze. And so we decided to just reboot it. And that seems to do the trick. And so that's what we do now. So this went on for days, which led to weeks, which led to months, and everyone just rebooted their computers at 5 o'clock without even blinking an eye. And one fateful day, the intern walked into the server room and noticed that the janitor was unplugging the power cord to plug in his vacuum, because that was the only power outlet that worked. And he effectively shut down the data center in that room, which caused, you know, all of the computers to freeze. And that's exactly what happened. It's a funny analogy, but it just goes to show that sometimes we do need to ask questions around, why are we doing it this way? Is it because it's been done that way and no one really asks questions, or is it the sensible thing to do? Questioning established norms is one of the key things that we have to do. It might be right today. The decision that you make today will be right today, but is it going to be right tomorrow? I'm sure the car manufacturers, when they developed the window knob, right, to roll down the windows, it made a lot of sense. It worked then, but is that the most efficient way, right? So then they wanted to innovate, they wanted to transform. And so they developed the concept of power steering and power windows and power locks, which is great. But now it's not transformative. That's table stakes. Can you imagine buying a car that didn't have any of those things? You'd be outraged, right? But what about tomorrow? You know, why can't it be voice activated, right? So there's a lot of things that might be normal today that might make sense today, but our job in transformation is to ask questions, because you are no longer transforming if you are no longer changing. Transformation today is going to be table stakes tomorrow. So the Minister of Transformation, Digital Transformation, you have your work cut out. You're not just in the incubation stage, you're going to be running and running and running. I want to just lead a couple of examples of what other governments have done around the world when they brought their government together. Not just government with industry and academia, but we're talking about internal government. There's so many different stakeholders, so many different departments that have to work together. So Ministry of Seoul, Korea, the mayor actually came to visit us in Canada. I had an opportunity to spend time with them, along with other ministers. And it was fascinating to hear about the challenges that they faced. A lot of challenges were very, very similar to what many governments are facing, is siloed departments, citizens having to call multiple different numbers to access very different government services. And so Seoul brought together their departments, academia, the tech industry, and they co-created on a metaverse for their city. And so in 2022, they were able to establish Metaverse Seoul, which is a virtual government that offers 15 different services in the metaverse. So you as a citizen of Seoul can access government in your digital avatar, wearing your $1,000 digital outfit, accessing government services. You can go and visit the Seoul Library and have an avatar there read a book for you. It's fascinating what they've done, and they have achieved over 1 million visitors accessing 15 different services, and that number continues to grow. The second example that I want to share is Singapore. Singapore has been able to completely digitally build out their whole digital twin that is leveraging real-time data. And what this is leading to is a very cohesive capability for urban planning and management. It is really helping them break down the data silos within different departments. And they're able to, with real-time data, understand traffic patterns and traffic flow. And they're leveraging that data analytics to really build a safer environment for their citizens. This digital twin project was a combination of collaboration between the government of Singapore with academic institutions, as well as technology organizations to really build out this platform. And in fact, a lot of governments that are honing on this technology, they're able to build out a lot of very unique capabilities. And then the final one that I'll just touch on quickly, many of you know about Estonia, but I wanted to just say that a week ago, Estonia just announced that they are now officially 100% digital. Up until a week ago, they were 99%, but they were able to put all of their government services completely online. I think the last remaining application was filing a divorce. So now you can just file for a divorce in the comfort of your living room. But again, that took collaboration, that took communities coming together and challenging each other to work together, breaking down those silos. And I'll tell you, it's one thing to have political will and the determination, but it also takes humility, right? I think a lot of the challenges that I see sometimes is not the lack of intellect or technology or political will. Sometimes it's just, egos, right? This was my project 10 years ago. It was deemed successful, and now I'm in a position to kind of say goodbye to it, right? And so there's that kind of affinity to the work that we've done. But I think the challenge for us all is to adopt a sense of humility to say what is needed today. Yes, I was a part of this exciting program last week or the year before, but what is needed today? What is needed for my constituents today? Because this might be the future of your constituents, right? This might be the people that you need to serve, and how are you going to serve if you don't know how to communicate, if you don't know how to build services that are meaningful to them, right? That outfit in the bottom right corner was a version of the outfit that my daughter wanted. And many of you are asking, well, did you end up buying for her? Of course not. There's no way, but I'll leave you with this. There's a lot of ways to slice and dice this. I think the government of Trinidad and Tobago are on a very strong and positive and healthy trajectory. You have incredible leaders that get it, and they have already partnered with so many different members of the industry, and it's so very, very heartening to see how incredible the momentum is here. And I'm almost wishing I can just live here. Like I'm not going to go home. I'm going to just stay here and be a witness to all of this happening. But connected enterprise is another way that you can go about it. This is KPMG's way. And essentially what the concept is that there are 8 different capabilities that any organization need to think about and integrate in order for your digital transformation a journey to be effective. Forrester Research, who's an industry analyst, has actually provided a lot of accolades and awards and recognition for KPMG's Connected Enterprise Strategy. The Connected Enterprise Strategy for government is essentially bringing to bear these 8 different things. And I won't drain this entire slide, but I'll just highlight a few. The first question is around insights and actions. Does your transformation agenda recognize your citizen as individuals, not just a number in your population database, but do you know who John Smith is that lives in this address and what their needs are? So do you recognize your citizen as an individual? The second question is around innovation. Does your approach apply to your citizens' personal circumstances? The third is around experience centricity by design. Does your solution personalize? Is it personalized and easy? Do your citizens have an enjoyable experience working with your platform? The fourth is around seamless interaction. Does your service allow citizens to choose the channel that suit their needs? I may not want to speak to somebody. Do you know that my kids don't want to talk to somebody on the phone? They think it's weird that my friends call me and we talk for hours on the phone because they're so comfortable with chatting over text. So does your government allow for that communication channel for your citizens? Is your solution responsive? There's a whole supply chain that you need to consider. Throwing technology at a problem is not the fix. Tech is easy. That's the easy part. The plumbing is the easy part. It's all the intricate layers that are connected around it that has to be solved for. The seventh is around digital-enabled tech architecture. A lot of the citizens' information needs to be kept safe. As you grow in your innovation journey, you have a lot more points to be concerned about. You have a lot more data that's now out in the internet that has to be protected. Hospitals in Canada, in the States, are being held hostage by cybersecurity threats, holding all of the patients' data and records hostage and not to be released until we pay those terrorists $15 million in Bitcoin, right? So there's a lot of that kind of bad actors that come with innovation. So you almost need to be prepared for that before you even go out in your journey. And the final is around the integrated partner and alliance ecosystem. You may have 10, 20, 30 different vendors, technology providers. Are they all coordinated and integrated? You might, without realizing, and this is what we found with the Government of Canada, they had so many different service providers that were providing similar things that there was so much waste. And so a part of the work that we did was around providing that program assurance, ensuring that they understand what's exactly in their contracts and extracting as much value out of those contracts and finding savings. So in conclusion, call to collaboration and action. This is an amazing forum where we have extraordinary possibilities from discussions that are going to happen today. Significant journey that you're all embarking on this digital transformation. And I believe that the success of this National Digital Transformation Strategy is really going to hinge on the collaboration that comes out of this room, the commitment to having those conversations and questioning the status quo and activating. It's one thing to gather all the feedback, but the next thing, as Minister Young said, it's about implementing those great ideas. It takes radical collaboration. We need radical commitment and radical collaboration across layers of government, departments, academia, and industry to come together to solve our biggest challenges. A lot of companies make the mistake of, investing in technology and thinking that that's going to be the solution to their problems, but that's just the beginning. And so thank you for giving me this opportunity. And there's a white paper that I was a part of writing called Foundational Agility. This is essentially kind of what I talked about today in a white paper. Feel free to download We have our Future of IT report that comes out every year, as well as the Global Tech Survey that I shared a little bit about. And then that's my LinkedIn. Definitely look forward to continuing our conversation. Feel free to reach out. And thank you again for having me here.
And our thanks to you, Anna Leon, for sharing the podium and delivering the keynote address on a systemic approach to digital transformation. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to acknowledge once again the presence of the Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister with responsibility for communications, the Honorable Simon de Nobrega, and also present the Minister in the Ministry of National Security, the Member of Parliament for Port of Spain South, the Honorable Keith Scotland. Good morning and welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. Well, Anna, some good news for you. There are 3 key words that you can take away from Trinidad and Tobago, and they're not SOE. They're actually carnival, steel band and costumes as one combined, right? And doubles. Those are the words that are trending in the month of February in Trinidad and Tobago. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we've got some work to do. At the Digital Transformation Symposium 2025, we've come together as change makers, leaders, innovators, and citizens committed to shaping a digital future that works for all of Trinidad and Tobago. Digital transformation isn't about technology, as you've heard. It's about how we use technology to improve lives, create opportunities, and deliver better services to our people. And that is exactly what the NDTS, the National Digital Transformation Strategy, is all about. The NDTS is our collective roadmap. It's a strategy that outlines how we will create a more inclusive, competitive, and responsive digital nation. But it isn't just words on paper. It was built through extensive consultation with government agencies, with the private sector, with civil society, and most importantly, all of our citizens in the country. Because transformation must be done with people, not just for them. But we have to acknowledge, while we make progress, we still face challenges. Many citizens and businesses are still struggling to adapt to digital services, and some feel left behind in this fast-moving world. If we want to succeed, we must bridge these gaps. We must ensure that no one is excluded from the opportunities that digital transformation can bring. Today, we'll explore solutions that move us from ideas to action, and we'll discuss how we can build a strong digital society, empower businesses to thrive in a digital economy, and transform government services to be, as Minister Young said, faster, more efficient, and citizen-focused. To set the stage, we now invite you to take a closer look on video at the National Digital Transformation Strategy, its vision, its goals, and how each of us can be part of making it a reality. Let's watch.
The world is changing faster than ever before, and Trinidad and Tobago is embracing this transformation. The National Digital Transformation Strategy 2024-2027, or NDTS, is our roadmap to building a more connected and digitally empowered nation. But this strategy didn't come from just one place. It was built together. The NDTS was developed through a collaborative, multi-stakeholder process that brought together government agencies, private sector leaders, civil society, academia, and international partners. Through a series of technical working group sessions, public consultations, and expert engagements, we identified the key challenges and opportunities that will define our digital future. We needed a strategy that ensures digital transformation is inclusive, sustainable, and aligned with our national development goals. It was essential to create a framework that encourages innovation and supports businesses in the digital economy. We work to integrate global leading practices while ensuring the strategy remains uniquely suited to our local needs. At its core, the NDTS 2024-2027 is built on 3 strategic pillars, each designed to create lasting impact. Digital society, ensuring that every citizen has access to the skills, tools, and opportunities to thrive in a digital world. This means improving digital literacy, expanding internet access, and promoting cybersecurity awareness. Digital economy, empowering businesses, entrepreneurs, and innovators to harness digital technologies for growth. The strategy focuses on supporting startups, e-commerce, and fostering a globally competitive ICT sector. Digital government, enhancing public service delivery through digital solutions. This includes modernizing government processes, implementing e-services, and ensuring that public services are efficient, secure, and citizen-centric. A strategy is only as strong as its implementation. That's why the NDTS will be backed by concrete action plans, clear timelines, and measurable outcomes. To ensure continuous engagement, we are launching engage.gov.tt, a digital platform where citizens and businesses can contribute to policymaking, share feedback, and track digital transformation progress in real time. Additionally, Ask NDTS, an AI-powered tool, will provide a personalized, interactive experience to help users navigate the strategy, understand key initiatives, and find ways to get involved. And that's just the beginning. The success of our digital transformation depends on you. Whether you're a student, an entrepreneur, a policymaker, or a citizen eager to embrace the digital age. Together, we can build a more connected, more inclusive, and innovative Trinidad and Tobago. Be part of the journey. Explore the NDTS, engage with our initiatives, and let's shape the future together.
The National Digital Transformation Strategy lays the foundation for a more inclusive, innovative, and connected Trinidad and Tobago. But transformation is not just about policies, it's about participation. That's why we're making it easier for you to engage, contribute, and shape the digital future with us. Welcome to engage.gov.tt, your digital platform for meaningful collaboration with the Ministry of Digital Transformation. Let's explore how it works. Getting started is simple. Click sign up on the homepage, enter your details, agree to the terms, and submit. Verify your email, complete your profile, and you're ready to engage. The homepage keeps you informed with banners featuring key projects and updates. Navigation is easy. Tabs like Home, Projects, and Events help you stay connected. The Projects section provides updates on national initiatives like the Data Protection Act and e-Identity. Share your feedback, participate in surveys, and help shape the future. On the Events tab, register for upcoming events and add them directly to your calendar. Engage also offers private discussion groups for targeted consultations, bringing communities into the conversation. Behind the scenes, real-time analytics help track participation, feedback, and project progress. Admins can respond, update statuses, and generate reports to address key concerns. Your voice matters. Through surveys, polls, and comments, the ministry listens and responds, closing feedback loops and driving real change. Engage.gov.tt is built for everyone, with language translation, screen reader capability, and more, ensuring inclusivity for all. A safe, secure space for meaningful discussion. This is a digital democracy in action. Register at engage.gov.tt today and be part of the transformation. Let's engage, TT.
There you go. So what you've just seen is more than a vision, it's a commitment to action. And the National Digital Transformation Strategy, of course, is the roadmap to build a more inclusive, innovative, and efficient Trinidad and Tobago. But strategies alone won't get us there. That's why we're not just talking about digital transformation today, we're giving you a way to participate and in shaping it, that's going to be the role and responsibility of each of us. So right now, those devices that you have, ignore the fact that your boss has called you 3 times through the morning asking, where are you? That's the opportunity right now for us to log into engage.gov.tt. I'll try it in another language. Ahora, pronto. We'll have the opportunity in just a short while to take a break, but it's a good time for you to do that engagement now, because there'll be a prompt, as well as the staff of the Ministry of Digital Transformation are here to assist with facilitating your registration on engage.gov.tt. Fun fact, when you get home later and your children ask you what you did today, let them know that you logged into a new platform and that they're missing out. It'll save you the $1,000 outfit that Anna was referring to. So engage.gov.tt is our new e-participation platform that's designed to put your voice at the heart of decision-making. It's a space where citizens, businesses, and stakeholders will be afforded the opportunity to share ideas, to give feedback, and be part of shaping policies, digital initiatives, and national priorities in real time. So whether you're a business looking for better digital trade policies, a young innovator eager to shape the future, or a citizen who simply wants to be heard, engage.gov.tt is your platform. So I encourage every one of you, since I'm the only obstacle between you and the coffee break that's next, to sign up now. Visit engage.gov.tt, create your profile, and start making an impact, because digital transformation is not something that happens to us, it's something that we create together. Good. It's time now for us to take a short break, ladies and gentlemen, and on the other side of the coffee break, which is just 10 minutes long, we'll move to panel 1, Building a Digital Society, discussion on expanding digital literacy, bridging the digital divide, and promoting inclusivity. So you can either get assistance from the staff if you need to facilitate the ease of logging on to engage.gov.tt, or you can have your coffee, tea, or whatever your favorite light beverage is, and we'll see you back here in 10 minutes' time. Thank you.